Yes, my viewers and subscribers, welcome to another episode of Jamaica Politics Uncovered. Guys, if you are a new subscriber here, welcome. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Guys, this episode that I'm bringing you, it is one of the hardest uploads that I've ever done. So I'm going to bring you a letter that I wrote and sent both to the U.S. Embassy in Jamaica in 2021. And I also sent a copy to the U.S. State Department the same time. Guys, I wrote this letter and I sent it out because at the time I felt threatened. I felt threatened by the Rise United movement led by Peter Bunting at the time in the People's National Party. And so as a mother and just as a female, as a human being, I have never felt threatened in a way where I've had to write to an embassy, higher up officials, security officials in any country or society. But for the first time in 2021 in my life, I did so. And I felt that it was necessary. And I am sharing this letter with you guys because I saw this coming. I saw the danger. I saw the reckless behavior. I saw the absence of boundary. And as I've said to you guys here before, as someone who understands human behavior and particularly abnormal human behavior, I know that when people who wear suits behave a certain way, I know what they are capable of doing. And I know that the presence and the persona that they put on is far from what we see with the naked eye. So I'm going to share this letter with you. Some parts I will not read, either to protect my privacy or because the information is too sensitive, okay? But I am going to read what is necessary to you. So guys, as you can see, the letter was sent to the U.S. Embassy and the date is May 28, 2021. To whom it may concern, this letter is a request to the U.S. Embassy in Jamaica for immediate protection from a political group called the Rise United movement operating in the opposition PNP led by the following persons. As you can see, Peter Bunting heads the list and a profile is given. Former National Security Minister, former Member of Parliament, so on and so forth. And also you can see Mark Golding there. You can see Dayton Campbell there. And you can also see Kamala Forbes, who we call now Miss Little Bit of Blood. So this is a 4-page letter, and I started out by saying, to my knowledge, the Rise United movement was founded 2019 by Peter Bunting. It is a group within the PNP that demonstrates a dangerous pattern of behavior which should be of grave national security concern. I was targeted by this group 2 years ago. And that's them. From left, Campbell, Golding, Bunting 2019 at their campaign presser. And that's Little Bit of Blood and Golding. And guys, that is Bunting and Forbes. So I felt the need to write that letter as a warning. I'm not going to read much more of it because I don't want the letter to be about me. I want the letter to serve as my duty at that time that I felt in writing to the appropriate authorities to warn them about the danger of these people, their lack of boundary, and their reckless behavior. And we know that people without boundary, because most of us, we're not going to do certain things, right? We are not going to commit homicide. We're not going to rape, and we're not going to do those kind of things. So people who lack boundary, you know, have to see them do them things they know, but you can't see them do other things where you can look upon it and say, but wait, them people let them down a boundary. They will stop at nothing to harm other people. And as a person who is observant and smart, when I looked at that and I thought about them being in the leadership of a major political party and in a country where they had more power and more control, this could be a very dangerous situation for Jamaica. I never took them lightly. Poor Melissa. She died in her sleep. She had an aneurysm. She had a little bit of blood coming from her nose. So we thought it was aneurysm. And then gunshot wounds, 2 to the abdomen. The husband's gun is a positive match. Why? Why the silence? Why can't the party disassociate themselves from this murder? Why everybody is so quiet over there? Why are there a few that showed up at Melissa's funeral sitting with or behind the husband after they heard about the turn of events, which made the husband a suspect, charged? Why? Why do they look so frightened when the camera hits them? Why do they stare down the camera the way they do compared to everybody else in the audience and in attendance at the funeral? Why do they behave so suspicious? What do they know? What have they done?
Asked by investigators from the major investigation sons at Melissa's funeral service. In a grip
control my sin.
Jolan Silvera, the husband of the deceased Mrs. Melissa Silvera, has been taken into custody as a suspect in this case.
So guys, I promised you that I would share some of my activism work with you in light of what is happening to Melissa Silvera and her untimely death. So in 2018, when the surge of violence against women, murders in particular, flared up, I started to do some activism work from the diaspora rather, in Jamaica. I became a member, ambassador, and representative of the organization called Women's March Global. And I used that activism to write articles, to speak with people, to kind of shed light on what was happening. So because I've been on social media for so long, people who saw what I was doing wanted to be a part of it. So I raised the funds, got in contact with somebody in Jamaica I trusted at the time to do the launch in Jamaica. And it's funny, I'm looking at it now. One of the theme was the silence is over. You won't see me in any of these photos because I was not there. But I worked with Keisha Hale. Some of you may know the name. And Keisha Hale, you know, she did the launch at Pegasus and she invited some people and she did the merches and stuff like that. And it was a good launch and people were very interested in it. And, you know, the donations came in. And it was good. We even had people like the former Deputy Police Commissioner Navlet Grant giving speeches about, you know, protection of women and protection of children and everybody. And people like Navlet Grant, I'm surprised that this woman didn't become Commissioner of Police. But anyway, you know, this is the kind of activism work that I did from the diaspora, guys. Okay? Because I am selfless. And however I could, I was having meetings in the diaspora with members of Women's March Global, giving them updates about how it was going in Jamaica. They were very interested in what was happening there and how they could help, how they could reach out to the government of Jamaica and all these things. But I wanted to just share with you some of the activism work that I did over those years. I don't do it anymore today. But over those years, as a patriotic Jamaican and as a woman from the diaspora, to try and raise awareness and get the government and activists in the country moving to protect women. Because there was a time when we weren't seeing this type of barbarism and, you know, attacks on women. So that was my activism work, guys. And that's why when I see a situation where a mother and a woman is murdered so brutally, and the lie and the cover-up, I can't stay silent. I have to speak out. So now you can see why I had to write a letter to the U.S. Embassy and to the U.S. State Department. Guys, when we see people displaying certain types of behavior, especially people that we hold in high esteem, like politicians and people in positions of power, when we see them behaving so reckless and so dangerously, we must never take it lightly. We must always take it seriously and report it to the proper authorities. You see what happened now? Murder and cover up and silence. Guys, keep it locked here to Jamaica Politics Uncovered. Make sure you're inviting your family, your friends, your post, your rat and your dog to come over here, so come subscribe. I will catch you guys in the next video. Have yourselves a nice day.